Ceerious and Pete. We're going to talk about the Chicago outfit. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good, good. It's getting cold out.
Yeah, it's kind of cooling down here. That's fine. I don't like the fucking hot weather anyway.
I do. I need it. I hate the cold.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. Chicago is kind of interesting. Um, there's a lot of people out there who kind of have like a mild interest in the mob. Who, especially people from Chicago, where they kind of have this attitude of like Chicago was its own thing. Like it wasn't La Cosa Nostra. It was like its own organization. And we know like right off the bat, we know that's not true. Like, Nick Calabrese, who was a longtime member and hitman in the 2000s family secrets trial, he testified that they did induct people. Like, they burnt the saint, they pricked the finger. So if it's not LCN, that's a little weird. And then we also have records of Joe the Boss Masseria, inducting Al Capone and then sending him out to Chicago. So they did make people. There are captains. There's a boss. There's a consigliere. Uh, the confusion lies on a few things that they kind of historically have had a ruling panel, or like I guess like a consiglio, it's called, where like they shuffle the boss and consigliere and underboss, and it's just like a group of guys in power who like and even though if there's an official boss, the kind of council kind of it's like an inner family commission type of thing, which is a little weird. And then the other thing is it relies or relied heavily on like non-Italians, like associates, whether it's like, old time guys like Gus Alex or like, Frank Schweiss, um, Lefty Rosenthal, like, and yeah, a lot of people are always like, oh, well, New York had non-Italian associates too, but it seems like Chicago had more of them, and you didn't really have to be made to get like super powerful.
Yeah, so back in the day when it started, well, first off, Torrio, he takes Capone, he brings him to Chicago. Now, Torrio was made in Italy, and when he was the boss in Chicago for a bit, but he wasn't. They didn't have ceremonies till like 1920s. I forget when. Whenever he retired, they started ceremonies after that. So he wasn't an official La Cosa Nostra, but
Yeah, so Capone was, like I said, Capone was straightened out by Masseria and then was sent out. Even though he was a Camorra guy, and Torrio was too. The thing is, there was already a Sicilian clan in Chicago early on, and eventually, like, this outfit organization kind of absorbed them. But yeah, so maybe like right off the bat, Torrio's group wasn't really LCN, but once Capone started like, gaining authority, they did, kind of swing that way. And again, like Chicago was on the commission of it, so it was definitely LCN, but yes, early on they did have a lot of like Camarista influence.
yeah. So in the beginning, first it was Big Jim Colossimo. He came in around early 1900s, and he was running gambling rackets, women, all that stuff. And then Torrio comes along, and they wanted to do the bootlegging thing, but Big Jim said no. So I think it was Frankie Yale that got the hit. So they took out Big Jim. Torrio goes, he starts running things. He brings Capone with him. And that started. So Big Jim, it wasn't called the outfit. Torrio, it still wasn't called the outfit yet because the press named it the outfit after Capone's whole renegade that he had. So that's how it kind of started. It was first Big Jim, then Torrio, and then Capone.
Yeah, and Capone is like where when it really like, in my opinion, really starts. At least as like a cohesive organization, like, connected to Cosa Nostra. Um, After Capone went away, So this is where it gets a little weird. Frank Nitti is like the official boss, but from what I've read, like he was kind of weak and he was more of like a figurehead. It was actually Paul Rica, who was also like kind of came up with and under Capone, who was um Paul Rica was like official boss, I would say, and Frank Nitti ended up hanging himself anyway in his cell. So
Oh, Reggie's in the chat. Yeah, Paul Rica. So it was him, Nitti, and Capone.
Dino Banyan or Bugs Moran? You could answer this one. I'm gonna say Moran. I think because he lasted longer, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bugs Moran.
What's up,
Um,
Reggie? Yeah, but yeah, no. Anyway, yeah. So Nitty is like kind of the quote unquote boss, but it's more. It's Rika is the boss, I would say. Like after Capone went away. Um, obviously, as pretty much everyone knows, Capone came back kind of brain dead. He had syphilis. I don't know what his standing was at this point in the 1940s or whenever it was he got out, but he wasn't the boss anymore. It was Rika. Um, and then I guess there might have been like a few little mini acting bosses between that point, as far as I know. But Tony Accardo is kind of like the big fish at this point. This is like him, Giancana, Sam Giancana, and Paul Rica kind of have this, like I said, consiglio thing where it's kind of like a ruling panel from like the 50s to like the 60s, and then even after that, even though Giancana gets killed between that point.
yeah, and Joe Batters, Tony Accardo, which allegedly he got the nickname Joe Batters because he beat three guys to death with a bat. And Capone was like, he gave him a Joe Batters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Accardo is probably one of those figures that he's pretty mysterious. He is, in my opinion, Capone aside, the biggest figure in the Chicago outfit history. Like he is the most powerful. Again, just because he lived for a long fucking time, and yeah, you could say Rika. Obviously, again, Rika was fucking massively popular. Giancana was for a while, but Giancana kind of fell out of favor eventually. And I mean, you can get into all the theories of like, oh, the CIA wanted him gone, the Kennedy shit. But long story short, Giancana gets killed, and it's kind of Rika and Accardo at this point, running things.
So yeah, they started shuffling bosses, but from what I heard, Accardo was still like, he was still calling his shots. So he was like a mediator, but he would come in and out shuffling just so the feds didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and like again, like before like obviously Joey Doves is like the next kind of big name. There's a few guys between them, between Accardo and Ayupa, but um even like between that point, even when Accardo wasn't officially boss, he was kind of like this kind of figure that was like kind of people were going to for advice and shit.
Yeah, he actually started running with them and when he was in his teens.
Yeah, he came up. He was like the driver. This guy's like, were the Chicago outfit more powerful than the North Side gang? I would say yes, because Chicago, the outfit kind of lasted longer. I don't know about like the peak, like in the 1920s. I would still say the outfit. The Chicago outfit in general, in my opinion, is like probably the most single. I'm not talking about like I don't know. You could like kind of like unite all the New York families in this debate, but like Chicago against any single New York family, Chicago, I feel like was the most powerful family in the country at one point.
Oh, 100%. And I think they made more money than all of them combined.
Yeah, well, like again, like with Chicago, right? Like there were families around them. Like there was a fucking Springfield rock field, whatever, Illinois crime family. So there was other families in that area of like the state, but Chicago was the one who like ran the city, and they didn't have any like real LCN rivals like New York did, where all the five families are always trying to take a slice of the cake, and Chicago was just Chicago.
Yeah. And another thing, oh, so he was, were they always more, the Northside gang did give them a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong. There was bodies being dropped left and right, but the outfit, you know, you watched Boardwalk Empire. If you did, that stuff's true. They eliminated all of them, a lot of them. So the outfit was more powerful, but they did give them a run for their money. The Irish were tough out there.
Yeah, but overall, like the outfit had more influence, and again, the outfit is just a media term. Like other Midwest families, like Kansas City, Milwaukee, they were referred to as like the outfit in like the press. And it's funny because like Chicago did have a lot of connection to these other Midwest families, like Cleveland, especially, and like Milwaukee, like even Los Angeles. Not LA is not in the Midwest, but like Los Angeles, like a lot of like West Coast and like Midwest families, kind of in a weird way, answered to Chicago.
Yeah, and another thing, like, all right, the Genovese family, Vito Genovese, for example, they didn't go around saying, "Yeah, we're in the Genovese family." That's just the media's term. Like
Yeah.
they never used their last name for a family. They never called themselves that. The
Well,
game.
yeah, they're usually called like the West Side, as far as
Yeah,
I know. Like members say like, oh, we're the West Side. That's kind of slang.
yeah.
Um,
They would
you
never.
know, and like I'll get into this like briefly, but like even the Columbos, like I heard like guys like Larry Mazza, ex Columbo member, he said that like while they were on the street, they said, oh, we're with like Persico or like stuff like that. So a lot of these names are just kind of like FBI names.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at.
But yeah, no, anyway, so yeah, eventually by like the 70s, it's Joy Ayupa. He's another violent guy. Um I think there was like a saying like this dude would order a ham sandwich to be killed or something like that. Not as like bad as like Nicky Scarfo or like any of those guys, but still a pretty violent guy. Um and yeah, and the thing with Chicago is its peak lasted a lot longer. Whereas a lot of the families in the 80s were getting fucked up. Like Chicago didn't really have like a big fucking indictment until the family secrets trial in the early to mid 2000s when Nick Calabrese and his nephew testified, and that was like kind of the first big like outfit like rats.
Of
Like
course they
before that
waited.
they didn't really have any.
Yeah, of course they waited till, because Accardo died in 1992. So that, which was crazy to me. But yeah, he lasted a long time. And then did you see the, they have it on YouTube when he was on trial?
Who Accardo?
Yeah,
Yeah, he just says like I don't know nothing or like I met him briefly. Yeah, but yeah, no, like towards I'm not gonna say the end because they're still around, and I'll get into that at some point. But towards the end of their peak, it was Jimmy Marcello. He was the boss. There's also this like Anthony LaPietra guy. That's kind of like who was running the family at this point. They had another guy, Sam Carlisi, for a little bit in the '90s. John No Nose DeFranzio. That's kind of how the peak ended. Those guys were running it. Marcello was the boss in name, and he was actually half Irish, which is kind of interesting. But yeah. After Calabrese testified, he testified about how they killed Spilatro. He testified about all the Vegas shit. Um, Joey the Clown Lombardo, another big name. All these guys went to fucking prison, and Marcello's still alive, I think, and he's in ADX Florence, which is like the worst fucking prison in the U.S.
yeah.
So that's kind of how that. Now, like they're still around. I'm not gonna get into like who's running it. If you look it up, it's pretty easy to find who's running it. From what I understand now, the family is very like factionalized, and it always kind of has been like with capos and like and shuffling admin stuff like that. But that's kind of how it is now. Like Scott Bernstein, that journalist, claims that apparently captains nowadays, like there's the Grand Avenue crew, the Chinatown crew, the Englewood, whatever the fuck crew. These capos like induct guys into their crews like by themselves, and they don't really go to each other. So it's if that is the case, it's is it really even a family at that point?
Well, you know who else does that? The Kimura.
Yeah. And it's funny because again, because like that's kind of how Chicago started off.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exact.
no, they're still around. They went from the strongest, I would say, the weakest of the active families. Maybe not the weakest, but like all the 5 New York families are stronger than them. Philly is stronger than them. I wouldn't even be surprised if New England, like the Patriarcha family at this point, is stronger than Chicago. And again, there's probably some fucking old Italian guys in Chicago right now who are going to be commenting, no, the Chicago outfit has like 10,000 made guys. Because again, like whole thing about the outfit is like it relies heavily on kind of like myth and secrecy because they were like, again, even the name, the outfit, it's very shadowy and like people didn't really know too much about the Chicago outfit until like the Family Secrets trial. Even when it was in the media with like Tony Spilotro. I mean, everyone here has seen Casino, I'm assuming, but that stuff, like, that people knew that that was, oh yeah, Chicago has some shit going on, but they didn't really know the ins and outs of it until like much later.
Yeah, the whole thing with Spilatra. Uh, I think, like, movie wise, with these guys too, Chicago, there was better movies with the whole Chicago stuff than the New York.
A couple of wars. I don't think they had any wars. Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Kansas kind of all share, and LA, I guess too, kind of shared Vegas. Um, they never really were like violently fighting over it. They might have had sit downs, but like if you watch Casino, like all those bosses, I think I said this last time, they're supposed to like there's 5 bosses and it's supposed to represent like Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Kansas, and Milwaukee. Those were like the biggest kind of families that were active in the Las Vegas area.
Yeah, that scam. You had Accardo, Giancana was part of that.
Yeah, and that was early on too. Like, but I don't know. And then I mean, like I alluded to it earlier, but like some people say that like when Sam Giancana was running things, that they were involved in the Kennedy assassination, and it's I don't know. I do think there was some LCN activity with that, but I also think it was mostly like federal orchestrated, and they just maybe used the mafia's like resources or something like that.
Yeah, because Giancana, something with Fidel Castro too.
Yeah. Um. What's his name? Johnny Roselli. He was a Los Angeles member who transferred to Chicago or vice versa. I don't really remember, but he also was like involved in like apparently trying to kill Castro.
That's crazy. Do you think Chicago with the movies that it's better than the New York family movies?
Mm, like, are we talking about just like movies about them, like which are better? If so, I'd say New York, because the only Chicago one I can really think of is like Casino.
There was movies on Capone.
Oh, like yeah, I don't know. Even then though, like, um, what's that movie called? What's the one with like Sean Connery?
Oh, man, slipped my mind. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, the movie where like they're going after Capone, like that is not better than like Donnie Brasco or like
Yeah,
Goodfellas. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm not saying they're bad movies, but like I don't know. To me, I find Al Capone like just an overrated figure. To be honest with you, he's like the most famous mafia guy, not counting John Gotti, I guess. But like, I mean, he's more famous than Gotti. Yeah, The Untouchables. That's the one. Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I find again like Chicago is just one of the most mythologized of the families, just because people don't really they didn't have as many informants, so people thought it was this big like spy network, etc. At one point, and like it's just I don't know, like a lot of that comes from like the Capone mythos, and I don't know. I'm not into that stuff to be honest with you.
yeah. The Prohibition era.
Well, no, not even that. Just like in general, like again, like there's people who think the Chicago outfit, like it was really powerful. Don't get me wrong, but like I've seen Reddit comments where it's like the Chicago outfit still has like like 10,000 guys, and they're like in the shadows, and it's like no, no, they're not, dude. Like at their peak, no family has ever had more than like fucking 300, I would say. And that's like on the high end. Like the Gambinos had like 200 something in the 80s, you
Yeah.
know, so
You think Sammy was right when he said they had 100 shooters?
they probably had more. Like, they had a shit ton of associates.
Yeah.
But speaking of him, it's funny because like he said that like, oh, I wasn't aware of like there was a family in Chicago or like something like that, like which is fucking stupid because as the underboss of the Gambinos, he should have known. Like I doubt he went to any commission meetings, but like he should have known that like there's like a nationwide Cosa Nostra, you know.
Yeah, he's like, there's everything, and then there's the outfit, he said.
Yeah, no, again, like we know time and time again that Chicago has had like induct it's Cosa Nostra, even if it's a little bit more loose with like the traditions and like the structure, it's still like the mafia.
I was reading a thread where someone was like, if Capone came out, he would have came back and they would have welcomed him as boss.
I don't
Uh,
think so. I think they knew he was fucked in the head.
they would have, even if he didn't have syphilis, I think they would have killed him. They didn't play around like that. They didn't want like a Gotti type guy. They would have killed him.
Yeah, because again, like, he came out in the 40s, like Rika and like Nitti was running things before that, and like they had already kind of like established like, again, like at this point they were on the commission. It was like, they were at the peak. They probably saw Capone's like, dude, this guy's like yesterday's news. Like, we don't need a guy who's fucking shooting Tommy guns and shit running a fucking family at this era. Now, I'm sure he would have been respected, but I don't think, they probably not in like the boss position.
I think they would have killed him, to be honest with you. I
Yeah,
think
the richest mob boss. I've heard about Fat Tony Salerno. I think honestly, like Castellano was pretty rich. I think I don't know, like I think you could make a case for a lot of those like 1980s like commission case guys. I it's really hard to say, but yeah, Salerno is kind of like I think Salerno is like the popular answer.
I
Would
think so.
Capone have would Capone have survived in the 60s and 70s era? Not if he was fucking acting like he was in 1930s.
Yeah, if he was acting like that, he would have became another. What's his name? The one that got killed
Spilatro.
with no
Spilatro.
Galante. He would have been killed like
Oh
that.
yeah, 100%, yeah. And again, like by the time Capone got out of prison, like it was a different beast at that point. They'd kind of cemented like what Cosa Nostra was, at least for like the commission style stuff.
Yeah, they were.
Like a guy who went away when it was like, just starting to kind of get off the ground in the States, really get off the ground. He wouldn't really have understood like how like I don't know, it would have been interesting.
It definitely would have been interesting. And uh, let's say, let's say he did get out. I don't know, cause Tony Accardo, they were shuffling bosses already. He would have came and ruined it. He was too hot headed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things we never know. I almost kind of see him as like a Mickey Cohen, from Los Angeles, that Jewish mobster. He was with the Los Angeles family. He was an associate, but he kind of had his own thing going a little bit. I kind of see Capone being like that, like just this kind of hothead guy, and then just immediately locked up. Now Cohen, because Cohen was kind of a lot of people compared him to Capone. He was a midget. Well, Capone wasn't actually that small in real life, but he was kind of a shorter guy, round, hot temper, violent, and that's kind of how Cohen was like portrayed in the media. Like a lot of people kind of said like, and Cohen too. Cohen went to prison for like tax shit and some other things. So I remember like there's like old Los Angeles newspapers like comparing Cohen to Capone, and it's like yes, but no at the same time.
Yeah, I could see that actually.
But yeah, I think Galante is a good example. Again, like it's just one of those things we will never know about, right? Because maybe Capone gets out, he's like, oh yeah, I'm like, let's say he doesn't have syphilis, he's like, oh yeah, I just want to like take my money and leave, type shit.
And well, yeah, I don't know if they took all his money from him, but at that time he was making an estimated today's money over $1 billion a year.
Yeah, yeah. No, Reggie's like, but most of the Sicilian Godfathers probably didn't approve Capone on the commission. Yeah, it's funny because like Capone says that, like, oh yeah, they're letting like Napolitans in, they're letting Calabres in, etc. But at the same time, like there's like some, I think it's the live interview where Banana was like, oh, he was a nice man or something about Capone.
Oh yeah, he said that about Capone, and then he dissed Carlo Gambino.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Banana was a bit of a like a snake, quite literally. You know, he says one thing in his book, and then in the interview, he's like, he was a great guy, and it's like, I think he was very like Banana's whole thing was like if you're not from like Castle Moraes or like Castle del Golfo or whatever, you're not like a real mobster type of attitude.
Yeah, that's why he tried to go after the rest of the commission.
What about Romans and the mob? I mean, in a weird way, aren't they all fucking Romans? Like, Italians, Romans. If you're talking about like from the city, there isn't really any homegrown Roman uh mafia style organization. I'm sure like nowadays there's like Ndrangheta cells there and stuff, but I don't know. I can't think of any like northern or like central Italian homegrown organizations like the South has. I think the South just kind of it started in the South and it kind of just spread throughout the country.
That's exactly what happened. Mostly the Andrangetta, yeah.
I've heard that there's like Venetian like little crime cells, but it's nothing like the mob.
Yeah, I would consider them. They're not bikers, but I would consider it like that, something like that.
Yeah, and like yeah, Reggie, like he's like it's Cosa Nostra wasn't about making money as a way of life. And again, like I've said that before, right? Like, there's guys like the Bonventures, for example, like, these guys who are kind of like from like old school Sicilian lines, like these zips in America. Another one is the Cherry Hill Gambinos. Like these are dudes whose like grandparents were fucking mobsters. Their grandparents were in the fucking mafia. You can't compare that to some guy like Sammy Gravano who has no family lineage who just kind of falls into it. Like if Gravano was from like where I'm from, he would have become a biker or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just like a generic criminal who just kind of latches onto that because that's what was around him. You can't compare that to a dude or dudes who've like their whole fucking bloodline is just like LCN.
You make a great point because when he was in the Rampers, they had all, he was with the Irish guys. Columbo's, he was friends with a lot of Irish guys. So yeah, he would have became a biker.
Yeah, but my point about like Banano is like again like in his book he says one thing, but then like in his interviews he says like another thing, and it's like I would say the book probably is more of what he was thinking, but I don't know, man. Like you can't trust some of these guys.
Nah, you can't.
But yeah, no, man. Like we're kind of going off topic here, but that's fine. Like, but like there's a lot of guys in like the mob who like kind of look down on Sicilians. Like even like Nicky Scarfo, like he called like Sicilians Sigis, and he's like, "Oh, these fuckers will like stab you in the back and like shit like that." He was Calabrese, Scarfo.
Yeah, and yeah, Capone didn't like the Sicilians either.
Yeah, Gotti. I don't know what Gotti thought of them. Gotti was from Naples.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't think they cared at that
Yeah.
point.
What is the process for how a hit gets ordered or approved? Well, it can start anywhere. Like, let's say there's a soldier who has like an unruly associate. The soldier can go to the capo, and the capo can be like, okay. Well, I don't know. Some families, the capo might just approve it, and then whatever, like it's done. But some other instances, usually it'll go a little higher, and then they'll be okay, the admin will stamp it and be like, yeah, fucking go ahead and do it. But there's a lot of times where, they don't give a fuck, like they won't ask for approval and then they'll just kill them and then after the fact they'll smooth it over, but you are supposed to get approval.
Bonanno claiming he didn't know about the plot against Maranzano while he had the most to gain. It was kind of fishy. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Well, he took over like what was Maranzano's family pretty much.
Yeah, he did
Uh,
have. He definitely did have the most to gain, Reggie.
yeah, and that's weird. Like I don't know if you remember, but like Boardwalk Empire, it shows Luciano getting like uh, made or whatever, but it's like under um Maranzano. In real life, like Luciano was a Masseria guy, so I don't know why they showed that.
Yeah. The
You
only
know,
thing.
like where when he goes into the hall and he like pricks his finger and all the other guys like shake his hand or whatever.
Yeah. Youngest boss at 26. Yeah.
Yeah, Banana was I don't know, even though he was a snake, like he was fucking he spread that family like everywhere, like Arizona, Montreal, like they had like a flag in a lot of places, Bananas.
So Beep asks, "What do you think has? Who do you think had Giancana killed?" I'm thinking it was the three-letter word that got him whacked. That's what I think. They had something to do with that. He knew
I
too much.
mean, yeah, maybe. I always thought it's more likely that it was just like Accardo and the rest of the Consiglio kind of were like sick of his like antics. Apparently he got pretty wild towards the end of like his activities and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, there wasn't like a CIA angle, but I think it was more so of just like a leadership thing.
Yeah.
And we don't even really know who killed him, like, as far as I know. Like, some people are like, "Oh, it was Anthony Spilatro," and some people are like, "Oh, it was Joe Ayupa himself," and it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things, like it's like a Jimmy Hoffa situation, we don't know, but we know type of thing?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't understand why people are always like, "Oh," and I've said this before, like, the Jimmy Hoffa mystery, and it's like, it's not a mystery, dude, like, we know the fucking Mafia killed him.
100%. He's well. What happened with him was he just didn't want to step down. They would have let him keep going, but he wanted the unions, and they were like, "Nah." But as far
Yeah,
as who killed him, it doesn't even matter, really.
yeah, that's kinda my attitude on it.
Supposedly, Gravano knew some shit about it.
They all say that, dude. They always fucking all these dude, like low level like Lucchese soldiers probably fucking claim to know who did it. Like even like Michael Francesi, like he's like, oh, I always knew that there was like a plot about Kennedy. It's like, how? Like you were a fucking like member in like the 70s and 80s, dude. Like
The only thing I believe a little bit is when Gravano said that he got his source from Tato, and Tato got it from him and Carlo.
if it's
That
not Kennedy though, but like how would they even know that? Because like from what we do know, it was mostly like Marcello in New Orleans, and the outfit that mostly was dealing with like the CIA and shit.
I think somebody told Carlo Gambino, who told Tato because they were close.
It just seems to me like such a big fucking secret to keep that not everyone in the mafia would just automatically know. You know what I mean? Or was it one hit? Yeah, no, they just they shot him while he was cooking something in his kitchen, apparently.
7 times right in the head.
Something like that, yeah.
And then Spilatro, he was doing too much.
Well, yeah, he was beaten to death.
Yeah, so he went out there and he was basically getting money from all the bookies. He was he was like saying, yeah, he was like basically pretending there was other guys. Meanwhile, he was the one that was taking all the action and had them believe it was somebody else. But that's not why
Yeah.
he got killed, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he was just kind of seen as wild, and he was kind of like fucking up the skim.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know. Again, like Casino says one thing, and I think even like I could be wrong, but like again, like Nick Calabrese is like the main informant for this shit, and he just kind of says like, yeah, like we just took him down to the basement, and um, I think he asked to like say a prayer, and they just like punched him and kicked him to death. So the why isn't so much as important as the how type thing.
Yeah. Wait, so they didn't say why they did it to him?
I don't really remember his testimony. All the thing that stood out was how they fucking killed him. But it's likely that the brass in Chicago were just kind of sick of him and the brother.
Yeah. Well, the brother did something first, didn't he?
I don't remember, but he had two brothers. I think one brother was Michael. He was an associate, and then there was another brother who's like a dentist, and apparently the other brother was like close to Joey the Clown Lombardo even after the fact.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Again, like the outfit's weird like that. There's so many guys in like high ranking position, but you don't really know where to put them. Like I don't know, like I don't remember if Lombardo was a captain or like I think he was acting consigliere for a while, but I don't know. Chicago's very like murky to me.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, especially when Accardo was in power. They just you didn't know who was who.
Yeah. Well, like I don't know. Those Calabrese guys, like I was talking before, there's Nick Calabrese and Anthony Calabrese, and like just lunatics, man.
Do you know that answer to that? How come Johnny Diaguardi never got whacked?
I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like off topic, but if you want a good video about like how these guys as families, I'm not talking about like the crime family, but like how their domestic family operates. Look up Kurt Calabrese. He's Anthony Calabrese's son, and like it just does not sound good to be the son of like a mobster, especially like a guy like that. Like just a total fucking lunatic.
Oh, he's crazy.
Um, just like don't physically abusive, verbally abusive, trying to shake his sons down when they made money.
Oh,
Um, fucking I think Kurt Calabrese was like supposed to like get married to Jimmy LaPietra's daughter. And when Calabrese heard that, he like lost his shit and like threatened to kill him and shit and then they asked Jimmy LaPietra, like Kurt and the daughter, is it okay? And then Jimmy's like, yeah, it's fine. And then Calabrese is like, oh, have a wonderful wedding. Like he's like happy all of a sudden about it. Like 10 seconds ago, he was ready to kill him. You know what I
bipolar.
mean? That's like a fucking like Paulie Galtieri type fucking attitude. Like
Yeah,
just a kiss ass.
sounds bipolar.
Yeah, I heard Chicago had a lot of transfers. Los Angeles had a lot of transfers to and from Chicago. Um, Actually, all the Midwest kind of bumped around. There were guys from like Cleveland who got transferred to LA. There were guys from LA who got transferred to Chicago. There were guys for like I have a list somewhere I could pull it up, but not right now because I'd have to close the stream. But um, yeah, man, like just the Midwest, specifically the West Coast, like Los Angeles, had a lot of transfers, and a lot of them were from Chicago. Like again, like Johnny Roselli, he was an LA guy, then he bounced to Chicago or vice versa or whatever. And it's like it's kind of weird because like New York had though that kind of, but it was very rare. Whereas with the Midwest families and the West Coast families, it seemed like transfers were a little more common even after being inducted.
And I can't think of anyone from Chicago that came to New York on a transfer.
No, but I think there were guys from New York who went to Chicago.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, Los Angeles specifically, like they didn't really have a lot of Italian like homegrown guys, so they relied heavily on guys from like Cleveland and like like Nick Licata, etc. Frank's
Frank.
Bompensero, yeah, yeah. Um, LA is a weird fucking family. They had a lot of informants towards the end, and like um there's like a story where like a guy's getting inducted, and it's like I think I brought this up before, but it's like Jimmy Fradiano. Um, I think it's Bompensero, and then there's like another guy, and then the guy getting inducted, and then the only one who wasn't like an informant was the guy getting inducted. And it was also in the back of a car that this ceremony was held.
That shit's, oh my god.
Yeah, the Mickey Mouse Mafia. But they had a lot of ties to Chicago.
Yeah,
That's probably and a lot of Milwaukee too, like, I'm sure Reggie knows, but, like, they tried to have so many, like, power shuffles, but everyone was afraid of Chicago, so they just kinda, everything in a weird like, all these families were, like, independent, but, the Midwest families Chicago was, like, kind of the Chicago was like the Genovese of the Midwest. Everyone kinda looked to them.
yeah. Um, yeah, we got to get Reggie on for Milwaukee one day.
Did, LA Mafia ever work with the I don't know, not really, and a lot of that is because that was kind of why the LA mob got fucked is street gangs specifically. And there were street gangs in the East Coast, but they didn't really have involvements with the rackets in New York. Like New York still controlled all the rackets and the white collar shit, whereas with LA, it was mostly extortions and stuff. And then when these street gangs springing up, the LA family kind of couldn't keep up. So, yeah, no, not really. That's kind of why LA got kind of derailed. We don't even know if LA is still around.
I haven't heard anything about it. Nick Licata?
I don't, there's a Licata who's like acting boss. I don't know if it was Nick Licata. I think one of those. There's like Licata, the from Cleveland or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not too familiar with LA.
Their last like real boss. Well, I mean, I don't know. Their last like somewhat powerful boss was Peter and Carmen Milano. Peter Milano, I guess Carmen was the underboss. And then after that, they kind of fizzled out. They have a Tommy Gambino. He was related to one of the Cherry Hill Gambino guys in New York. He was inducted in Los Angeles, and he's like the LA boss, but they're not really a family right now. And if they are, they're like criminally inactive.
Yeah, I was gonna bring him up. I was like not sure if he was in LA or not.
Yeah, he's the Los Angeles boss, but he's like related to like Rosario Gambino and all those guys, like those heroin traffickers.
Yeah, no,
Um, Fradiano also transferred to San Francisco for a little bit.
so when they get transferred, they weren't made, right?
No, I mean sometimes no, but there have been guys who were inducted and then transferred. So like for example, like one of the Persicos was inducted into the Buffalinos, like the Pennsylvania family, and then they were transferred back to the Columbos after the books opened. But he was already a made guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I
So
thought
yeah,
one,
no, you could get in. It's kind of weird. Like it's not like encouraged, and it is relatively rare, but it does happen.
yeah, I thought that you weren't able to once you became made, but I guess they
Yeah, no,
changed.
like in New York, it was rare. The Midwest and the West Coast, kind of, it was more common. There were guys, like again, like Reggie said, there were guys who bounced around a lot. Like Fradiano was like L.A., Chicago, San Jose, San Francisco, back to L.A. Like you know,
I guess,
yeah, I've played the Mafia games. They're okay. They're not really great in my opinion. Like I liked Mafia 2 when I played it when I was a kid. Mafia 3 is fun, but it's kind of boring. And then like Mafia 1 is too short, and like I haven't even played the new one. They're okay. It's just they're all too short. That's my problem. And like they're just kind of boring. Like there's too much driving.
yeah, I haven't played since I think Mafia 2.
Yeah. No, it's not like bad. I just like I don't know, there's better games out there.
The one of the GTA games, what was it? GTA 3 with the was Frank Vincent in that?
He's in that one. He's also in Liberty City Stories. How's it
Yeah,
going?
those were good ones. Hey, what's going on, Joey? We're talking about Chicago.
I think like Mafia 1, I don't I guess if you haven't played it, but like it's supposed to be set in like a Chicago style city.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. They're okay. They're not my favorite games.
nah, I like GTA.
Yeah. The outfit is like what the Chicago family is nicknamed.
Yeah, the press gave him that name.
But like I said before, like other families, like a lot of the Midwest families also had that moniker, like in the media.
Yeah, yeah. So I was trying to, because I want to make a video with the off topic with Angelo Ruggiero. So I was trying to find transcripts. I can't find any of them.
Probably court lock. I mean, you can find some of the wiretaps of him talking, but
Yeah, I sent you one today. That was the first time I saw that.
yeah. Yeah, Capone was definitely way more of like a gangster than like a mafioso, I think.
Yeah, he was more of a gangster than a racketeer for sure.
And again, like that's what we were saying before. Like if he didn't get syphilis and he came out, probably wouldn't have been in power. Like Rika and Nitti and like Accardo would have been like, we've built something up here. Like now we're like a full blown family. Like you can't have people shooting fucking Tommy guns in the streets and shit.
And then Frank Capone, he got lit up by the cops. That was a payoff. Who did that? I forget.
I don't remember. O'Banion maybe.
Uh, was it a? It could have been him or Bugs Moran, I think.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what his brother's like role was like after Capone went away. Like he wasn't the boss. I think he probably at best was like a capo or something.
Oh,
Ralph Capone.
Ralph. Yeah, yeah. He wasn't. I don't. He wasn't a big shot. He was. I don't even know if he was a captain.
Yeah. Again, like the outfit, like from the 50s onwards, was very different from like the 1930s shit, you know?
Yeah. Gianni Russo. He lies a lot.
He's funny though. He's entertaining, but yeah, it's a bullshit artist.
I don't believe anything he says.
You shouldn't, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. He has like an interview where he's like talking all the mobsters he knows, and it's like, you know, it's a little weird.
Wasn't Giancana with Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, she was a fucking dude. She was with JFK. She was with I think the brother Robert F. Kennedy. She was with that baseball player. She was with Giancana. She was with Johnny Roselli, another Los Angeles slash Chicago guy. Um, yeah, man.
Yeah, Sammy the Rat. You and Pete hate him. I hate him too, but he's funny sometimes. Yeah, he does lie a lot. He's always the hero in his stories.
He's probably gonna die soon, dude. He's pretty old.
Yes, I heard he's not doing good. Something with his heart. He has to get surgery.
Well, he's gonna wake up in hell and see Gotti waiting for him with a bat.
He made a joke one time too. He said, when he goes to hell or something, if he don't make it to heaven, he's gonna see gas pipe down there. And who else did he say? Scarpa, but he mentioned gas pipe specifically.
Yeah, I don't know what his whole thing with gas pipe is, but anyway, yeah, no, I don't know, but like going back to Chicago, like yeah, going back to like just before the Family Secrets trial, it was Sam Carlisi, Jimmy Marcello, and James the Hook LaPietra running the family, and I guess Joey Lombardo, and like that's a pretty stacked admin, you know.
Yeah.
John DeFranzio, who fucking sliced his nose off going through a plate glass window when he was a fucking in his 20s because he was a burglar. All these guys were like high up positions, and then like they all get fucked.
What were their biggest rackets?
Chicago, they again like a lot of union stuff, a lot of street stuff. Unions was the bread and butter, I would say. Construction, kind of the same thing as New York, just more localized.
Yeah.
They had a lot of like film industry stuff, like especially like in Los Angeles, like LA and the Chicago connection there. Uh Fucking Frank Sinatra had ties to Chicago, so like I don't know, they had a lot of they were doing good.
Were they dealing out there?
Drugs, I don't know. I can't think of any big time Chicago drug dealers, but I'm sure it happened. Uh yeah, Frank Nitti killed. I don't know about the first bullet. I always kind of thought he hung himself, but yeah, he killed himself. That's all I know. And everyone said he was the boss, but it's likely that Paul Rico was actually the boss at that point.
I forget why Nitti did it to himself.
He just couldn't handle prison. Apparently, like he was looking down like a sentence.
Really? That's why?
That's what I've heard. The other thing about Chicago is they were the most like politically connected, I would say.
Yeah. They had Robert Kennedy and all his connections.
I know Kennedy hated them, but I was talking more about like Murray Humphreys and like Gus Alex. Like again, these guys are non-Italians, but they're like high-ranking associates because they have a shit ton of like city hall and like state connections, you know?
Yeah.
So like there's even like that Mob Facts channel. There's like footage and it's like a restaurant that's like frequented by like local politicians and they have like a table next to like um I guess like Ayupa and his guys, and apparently like they used to like talk to each other but not face each other or something like that. Like I don't know. It's weird, man.
What do you think about Ayupa?
He was a pretty powerful boss. Like he also was like connected to the Skim. Probably not as good as Accardo. Again, he was also really violent too. Like he used to order murders left and right. But Ayupa was stable. He was a decent boss. You know, he lasted a while.
How would you compare him to like the other bosses and like the five families?
Um, I don't know if you really can. I'll
Like
put it this way, like,
who was he like most relatable to? Like not Persico.
No, I'll put it this way: if Tony Accardo is like Joe Bonanno, um, I'm not saying he is, but like that kind of like stability, then
Yeah,
Ayupa is kind of like Joe Messino, just without the ratting. Like a great boss, kind of strong. Obviously without the ratting, like I mentioned, but Ayupa was just good. Like he was good for the family. Like you know, he he was the boss when fucking Spilatra was killed. So
yeah,
like he was there at its peak, kind of in the 70s. P, what do you think of Bugs and Miranda? I don't really know, to be honest. Like again, like I'm not really into the prohibition stuff. I'm mostly into like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to like now. But he was, from what I understand, the Moran gang was like the only real rivals in Chicago. Is
yeah.
Joe Bonat? Yeah, I mean, boss, like official boss, I guess, but like Al Diarco, who is like Lucchese acting boss, also had a book.
Who else? I'm trying to think. Was there another boss out of the book?
Fucking Ralph Natale, if you fucking think
Oh, yeah,
he's legit, he was like the fucking for all intents and purposes was like a front boss for Joey Merlino. He was like the Philly boss officially, but he had like no respect and he flipped.
yeah. Fucking. Um, no, I can't think of anybody else that had that was boss. No.
There was a in Detroit. There was one of the I don't know. I want to say one of the Tokos. I don't think he was the boss, but he was like a high ranking. Actually, no, never mind. He didn't have a book. I think he was gonna write a book and then he died.
My boss by Al Diarco.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. He was like a acting boss briefly, like when Muso and them were getting fucked, or like we're being chased by the or on the run.
Claimed he was made by Gambino. Carlo?
Natal yeah, fucking Ralph Natali says that. He claims that Angelo Bruno and Carlo Gambino met him in a warehouse and said this is like a secret ceremony. You're getting inducted into Cosa Nostra. When in reality, it was fucking Joey Merlino. And like in the 90s, he was inducted in not in prison, but like he kind of got back into LCN through Merlino. Merlino met him in prison, and he saw that he was like an old time because he was like an Angelo Bruno associate, and they kind of used that to their advantage.
Yeah, I don't think Gambino would have had anything.
100% no. Like we know that he was inducted in like the 90s in the Tully.
Moran was supposed to be at the Valentine's Day massacre. Um, I don't think so. I think Capone was just trying to make a point. Would they dress up as cops and just let everybody up? I don't think he was just making a point. That's what Capone did. He would just annihilate the streets, make his point. People would step back.
Uh, doesn't surprise you that Joe. Well, in book form, yeah, but there's been like again like Joe Messino. He didn't write a book, but he fucking said everything to the feds. Like he flipped. But yeah, book wise, sure. Him and Aldi Arco, Joe Bonanno and Aldi Arco are kind of like the two that come to mind for me, like book wise at least.
And plus, Bonanno, he was out. They let him retire.
Yeah, surprisingly.
So that's not considered like a rat or anything, right?
Some guys did, like Joe Messino considered it ratting, ironically, like to the point where he was thinking about changing the Banano family to the Messino family, which would have been funny considering what happened, but
Joey says Carlo Gambino is the best boss. I disagree. I think Tony Accardo, but that's my
I
opinion.
think I think Gambino for New York is pretty good. I don't know about best boss. There's been a lot of great bosses like Chin Gigante, Gambino, Accardo. Like I said, Angelo Bruno was pretty good in Philly. There's been a lot of them.
Messino's testimony is great too. He explains the post Galante admin really well.
Yeah, the year. I think Joe Todaro Sr. or and Jr. in Buffalo have like a similar thing. I forget what they touch like a part of their body, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. Most loved by their crew and the most hated by their crew.
Well,
Uh,
it's kind of hard to say because there's guys who like them and guys who don't. Like, for example, like Michael Mancuso, the current Banana boss, he's apparently liked in the Bronx, but the Brooklyn and other Banana faction guys don't like him at all.
I know in the late 80s, Castellano was hated by a lot of his crew.
Yeah. Um, he comes to mind. Persico, I think a lot of people didn't like too,
Yeah.
and the Columbos, to the point that they had a civil war over it. Angelo Bruno, I've heard was good. Like there's like wiretaps that of like them saying like, oh, this guy's like Angelo Bruno's always around, like saying like, oh, like like if you need something, he'll help you. Obviously, Antonio Caponegro didn't think so because he killed him, but for the most part, Bruno was well liked in Philly.
Yeah, Bruno was definitely well liked. I don't know how that started.
Antonio Caponegro wanted to like sell drugs, and he thought Bruno wouldn't let him, but then found out that Bruno was accepting envelopes, or thought Bruno was accepting envelopes from drug money. So he's like, "How come I can't fucking do it?" type thing.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you want to do like a Q&A thing now? Because in the next
yeah.
15 minutes, I'm probably gonna, getting pretty sleepy.
All right. Yeah. So ask questions, guys. We'll answer them.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying Carlo wasn't a good boss. I agree, he's definitely up there. But I don't know about best boss. I don't think there is a best boss. I think there's good bosses and bad bosses.
Joey, the reason I think that is because Accardo he never did any jail time.
He
And
did
he,
like one day or something like crazy like that.
yeah, and he ran the I think it's the most powerful crew besides the Gambinos and the Genovese. It's a 40 years. 40 years.
Yeah, even
That,
though indirectly, like he was the boss, but then he switched to consigliere for a little bit, and then he's the boss again. Like he kind of jumped around, which is good.
and then when he gave it up, they still were running things good. When Carlo gave it to Paul, it was good for a little bit, but it was still, I don't know if that was the best decision.
Yeah.
Which would have made the best president? Huh?
um, Paul Castellano. He lived
Yeah.
in the White House. No, that's why it's funny because Castellano's house was nicknamed the White House because this big ass white mansion in Staten Island.
Yeah, I live about 10 minutes from him. His house.
Do you ever drive by that?
Yeah, all the time.
That's crazy, man. It's on the market.
They took it off the market. They wanted 18 million for that shit.
No, I didn't know that. That's fucking nuts.
And I know the plumbing's bad because Gravano was saying he had to fix the plumbing because the house was so big that Paul couldn't get hot water. So I wouldn't buy that shit even if I had the money.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Gambino's a good boss. There's no doubt about it. Maybe a little like probably seen by the non-Sicilians, it's kind of snaky, but still good.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
Polo.
loved his maid too much.
That's probably not what got him killed, but more hated
Some people think the maid was a fucking informant.
with the feds more than others. Scarpa, I know he did. Um,
Yeah, the Bananos had like again, like they didn't have a fucking like big time rat until like Frank Coppa flipped, and then it all came tumbling down. All these fucking like Banano guys flipped. Like 90% of their administration flipped in the 2000s. Like Sal Vitale, obviously Joe Messina, like just like captains, like everyone just started ruling the Bananos.
yeah, uh, they're probably the most. Yeah,
Lucchese's, I would say, Columbus also have a lot. I think. I don't know. I forget exactly, but yeah, Bananos have the most as far as I can remember. Gambinos have a lot too, but Banano, just because of like the damage that Messino and the others did to the Bananos, that's kind of why they stick out to me.
yeah. I'm gonna agree with you with the bananas there. What other questions you guys got? What time is it by you, Pete?
It's like 9:09, but like I was out today a lot in the sun, and I'm pretty sure I have sunburn. I'm like really fucking drowsy.
Sunburn. What was the temperature?
I don't know how fucking hot it was, but the sun was out for the first time in months today, and I was out for like 3 hours walking around.
Oh shit.
I don't know. My skin just feels fucking hot. I don't know. I feel like I got something.
Damn. Yeah, Genevieve's. Besides, what's his name that flipped on Chin?
Joe Valachi was like one of the first big time rats, and he was a Genovese guy.
Yeah, the Valachi papers. 98. Damn. It was 65 here.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It wasn't like hot here. It's just like we had like clear skies for the first time in months, and I think I just fucking walked around too much.
So the whole summer, there was no sun?
No, like what I'm saying is like we've had like for October and September is like when it starts getting like rainy here.
Oh,
So like we have like a lot of like rain and clouds, and like it today felt kind of like summer again for some reason.
oh, okay.
So like obviously yeah, in August and shit, July like there's summer and shit, but like the second September hits, it gets kind of like you know the weather gets kind of shitty here.
Yeah. Is it true Roy Cohn was the lawyer for the heads of all five families?
In BC and Canada, British Columbia. Yeah, I don't know about all the five families, but yeah, he was. I think like I want to say like Tony Salerno. He was like he helped or like I don't know. He definitely was involved. Lawyer wise. Uh, had some mafia defendants. Oh, by the way, Bruce Cutler died the other day.
I just saw that. What I think
John
yes.
Go- John John Gotti's lawyer.
Yeah.
The, the guy who used to like go up and like scream at witnesses and shit.
You think he was a good lawyer?
Well, I mean, he got him off a bunch of times.
I was reading. I think it was on the Mafia Reddit. Did he get him off, or was it just Gravano, like he said, tampering with witnesses and shit?
I think it was both. I think Cutler was a good lawyer, but I also think they were fucking around. Yeah, no, beep boop. It's good, man. I like talking about it. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate you always coming in, bro.
Yeah, he's like, this indictment stinks, and he like threw it on the ground or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man. You guys got anything else?
I wonder if Bobby Simone, the Philadelphia, he was Scarfo's lawyer. He was pretty good. He got Scarfo off on like murder charges, for the Vincent Falcone murder. Bobby Simone was a pretty good lawyer for the mob in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he was good.
All right, dude. I'm probably gonna pack it in.
All right, brother.
Yeah, I'll see you around. But yeah, let me know if you need photos or anything. I'll get you some.
All right, I got you.
All right, see you, buddy.
Take care, brother.
Bye, buddy.
Let's talk Cleveland mobs to Danny Green next time. Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that. We'll do Cleveland, Milwaukee. Uh, yeah, there's a couple of things I want to do. I want to do a Gambino one soon with that whole wiretap shit. I'm trying to find the transcripts. All right, since Pete left, we could talk about. We don't have to talk about Chicago right now. We could talk about whatever. Because I'm going to edit that Chicago stuff for a video, take bits and pieces. What do you guys want to talk about? Joey, what time do you go to bed? Yo, Boop, where do you live again? Who is who is he a lawyer for again? Refresh my memory. Oh, Scotland, nice. Yeah, that's right. You told me yesterday. Yeah, Chicago was. So I was saying earlier before. Basically, Big Jim Colossimo. He was out in Chicago first, and then he was running his rackets, and then Torrio comes out. Torrio wanted to do the bootlegging, and then after Big Jim didn't want that whole bootlegging shit going on, Frankie Yale took him out for Torrio. So it wasn't the outfit yet, and then Torrio started molding the outfit. It still wasn't called the outfit yet. The media term, that Capone, is when they started calling it the outfit. But what Torrio did was he got the Italians and the Jewish people together, and he was trying to stop all the violence. You could see that in Boardwalk Empire too, where he's just trying to keep peace. He's telling Al Capone to chill out. All that stuff happened in real life. And then what happened after that was when Torrio retired, because someone put a hit out on him, they got Lucky got the idea from Torrio because Torrio had a commission. It was called the National Alliance that Torrio did. So Lucky's idea came from Torrio, the whole commission thing. It could have been Capone that put the hit, but It might have been Bugs. Was it Bugs Moran? Oh no, Jaime Weiss maybe. Was it Jaime Weiss? Oh yeah, Joey Messina's lawyer. Yeah, yeah. So Torrio technically put the idea out on a commission style thing. So Lucky probably got it from Torrio. Who came the closest to killing Capone? Probably Bugs Moran. Probably his guys. And then when they were in New York, there was the White Hand Gang with Bill Lovett, Pegleg Lonigan, and those guys. They mention them in Boardwalk Empire. The Irish gang in New York. Yeah, so Torrio, he wasn't Cosa Nostra. He was made in Italy, but they didn't start doing ceremonies till after he retired. So, but he was still a made guy from the other side. Torrio was an interesting character. The D'Alessio brothers, I don't know, to be honest with you. Wait, I think so, but I forget their names off the top of my head. I don't think that was their names though. There was a bunch of brothers I remember, but I'm not sure if it was called the D'Alessio brothers. Yeah, Bugs Moran was crazy, Joey. Yeah, Joey, they did exist. Yeah, there was just different names. There was like a bunch. I think there was like 5 or 6 brothers, something like that. Give me 1 second, fellas. Just 1 second. All right, I'm back. You guys hear me? All right, cool, cool. Loud and clear, Cappy. Joey, I started working on that Chrissy video. It's coming out good. Christopher and his associates. So I just finished up him and Brendan Talone. Then after Brendan's probably Chippendale, I believe. Is there anyone else in season 1 that he was hanging with besides Brendan Talone? I forget. Because I go episode by episode. So if there's nobody else after Brendan, I could just skip to season 2. It'll be quicker. The only Philly gangsters from the Prohibition era you could find was Salvatore Sabella. I heard both of them. but I don't know too much on them. I will read up on them though. I like finding out new information. I appreciate that. Oh, the Lanzetta brothers. There you go. Thanks a lot, Beep. Oh, so I could just skip to season 2 then and start that up. And then after Sean and Matt is Benny. Um, Benny's in season 3. I think Little Paulie. I'm not sure. You got to remind me. Oh yeah, Corky. Um, I could throw Yo-Yo Mendez in there for a quick scene. Because then after Chris and his associates, I'll do either Chris and Aid or Tony and Chris. Yeah, JT. So I could basically just skip to season 2 then and save myself time. That way I could put it out quicker. Joey, DJ, I don't think he likes me anymore. Tell DJ I ask about him. Oh, I didn't know that, Beep. No, Joey, I think he got mad at something because he kept posting that he didn't like uh, the podcast, and I said, you know, to chill out basically because if you don't like a video, I don't mind comments that are hateful comments or whatever, but he kept doing it, and I don't know. I'm not mad at him. I remember just deleting a comment because he kept going on and on because he didn't like the syntax. He said, yeah, he didn't like the podcast stuff that me and Pete did. He just because we do conversations like phone conversations, just regular shit. We try to be different than everybody else. I don't want to read off a script or nothing. I rather just do a freestyle talk. It's more natural. It's real. Yeah, he kept because this is my second channel is my monetized channel, so I don't know. I thought he was hating on it, so I made a little comment to him, but nothing bad. I didn't say anything crazy. I know, Joey. You're one of my top guys. Yeah, beat. That's what I love about it. I just like talking, shooting the shit. Yeah, maybe I mistake. I don't know, but he stopped commenting on the videos I was like all the Sopranos videos. Usually you and him are the first commenters, and then he just stopped, so. I wish they would let me just edit all their videos for them, HBO and everybody else, because I would do a better job than all of them. Do I think it was a big mistake for the mob to help with the Bay of Pigs, or did they have no choice? I uh, I don't think they had a choice with that. I think they had to do it because what's his name was facing time. Uh, they had to do it. Oh yeah, that collab I did. Yeah, with mob tapes. I'm trying to get Cineranther on. You guys should hit him up. And then one day I'll get Borko on. I want to talk to Borko about the world. Because Borko's good with all the law stuff. So I'd get political. I would talk to him about that kind of stuff. Because I talk to Borko all the time. I'm in his Discord. It's one of my main guys. I'll collab with anybody. Kino, Cineranther, Borko, whoever. Joey. He's living in the wrong century. I messaged him on Instagram. He didn't write back yet. I don't know what he's waiting for. How would I rank O'Banion, Weiss, and Moran? I would put. Uh, I would probably put Moran first, Weiss second, and O'Banion third. That's what I would rank them. Borko's Discord. Go on Borko's channel, and he should have it in his profile. And then just say it's you, and then I'll let him know. And yeah, it's fun, Joey. So the whole thing with that, with Weiss, is similar to like what Torrio and them. So Torrio didn't have all Italians. They had a lot of Jewish mobsters. So Weiss was one of the most feared tough guys. And that's what you had to be in Chicago. You had to be tough. The gangs are a little different, but the whole Chicago, it was just the way they did things were so much different than the families in New York and Philly. I heard something about that. I know in the I believe it was the 20s. Um, Al Capone got pinched on a gun charge. I think somebody ratted on him just to get him off the streets for a little while because he was going too crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was trying to take him out, especially Ayala. Yeah, they were not back then. 20s, 30s. It was just, they were blowing shit up. They had Tommy guns, all kinds of crazy shit. It was just a different era. The cops, everybody, they were just different. It was easy to buy politicians. I'm pretty sure he was a union guy. I gotta double check that. Back in the day, and I think even still to this day, the unions, they control everything. You want to join a union right now, you gotta pay thousands of dollars. You gotta work for bullshit money for years. They use you up. You're building skyscrapers and shit that's gonna last 100, 200 years, and you're just getting paid for like that project. That's bullshit. That's my opinion. It's all a scam. Oh wow, I didn't know that, Joey. Yeah, my favorite ever era was the 20s, the 30s, 40s, the 70s were great, the early 80s, and I wasn't a fan of the 90s era. Oh, he did? I didn't know that. He bought Capone's car. Any of you guys work in a union? Joey, did you work for a union? So there was no excitement because so they reopened the books because there was like a 20-year period from 50 something to 70 something. They reopened the books. And that's probably why there wasn't a lot of excitement because then once they opened the books in the 70s, they started making 10 guys from each family. Which union were you in? Yeah, man. I was gonna do the Teamsters, the laborers, but I didn't feel like working for what they wanted to pay me. They use you up. That's what they do. Which union, Joey? What'd you do? Were you a carpenter? If I did any of the unions now, I would try and get in something with the carpenters, maybe plumber, possibly. Oh, a butcher. Nice. Yeah, so you're in Scotland. I feel like America, with their unions, they've always been corrupt. So, and then the first 3 to 5 years, you're literally working for shit money. They use and abuse you. It's like, if you get injured, you're screwed. And then after 10 years, your knees hurt, you're all messed up, and then you start getting paid good. Oh, you made a good move, Joey. How's the pension? You got IRAs and shit? I don't know if they get along with the insurance companies, but insurance companies and others, one of the biggest scams on the planet is an insurance company. If I was in charge of this country, I would ban insurance. Not ban it totally, but it's just such a scam. I've been driving my car for, let's see, like 20, over 20 something years. Never any accidents, nothing. And I'm still paying a lot of money. And it just goes up and up. You could be the best driver, they're still going to slam you. And then when it's time for a payout, if something happens, they don't even want to pay. Oh, that's good. Yeah, private health insurance was great. In 2012, and during the Hurricane Sandy, so a lot of houses got wrecked, including mine. So the insurance companies, they didn't pay out because they changed it from a hurricane to a storm, some kind of storm, where they didn't have to pay out. And it was the biggest, most crookedest shit they ever did. And I hate insurance companies. That's just the biggest scam. That, property taxes, all scams. You go, you buy a car, you sell it to somebody, you pay a tax. You buy a car, you pay a tax. Then the other person, they buy the same car, they're paying the same. You're paying taxes and taxes on the same shit. Biggest scam. Joey, I'm paying 300 for a fucking Civic. 300. That's what I'm saying, Joey. They are a mob. They're worse. They're doing worse than the mob ever did, and they killed more people too. Yeah, the subs more addictive than the other shit. Jersey's too expensive, man. It's almost as expensive as New York in some spots. The property taxes are trash. And the energy, forget it. Electric, they triple the prices now. They don't want anyone to live good anymore. Bullshit. I'm in Staten Island, home of Wu Tang. I went to school with Ghostface Killer's son. Yeah, the Bronx. I never really go there because there's no reason for me to go there, but I'm sure there's some nice spots in the Bronx. Yeah, Staten Island's more the suburbs, like Long Island, both of them. But I'm about 10 minutes from Brooklyn, Bensonhurst. Staten Island back in the day was entrenched with the mob. They were all over the place when I was a kid. How would I rank the New York boroughs? All right, so I love to see Manhattan. I take the express bus. I get there in like 40 minutes. And I just love walking around Manhattan. But I wouldn't live in Manhattan. It's my favorite one. Besides, I don't know, Brooklyn too. I love Brooklyn. There's nothing like the food in Brooklyn. I think the food in Brooklyn's better than the city. But the places I go in Brooklyn are all Italian. And then there's Queens. So I would say the Bronx is my least favorite borough. I would say Brooklyn would probably be my favorite borough. Then I would say after Brooklyn would be Manhattan, then Queens, then Staten Island. Yeah, the five families, they all had the boroughs, but different spots, different unions. Like you had some, the Brooklyn had, you had Gambinos, you had Colombos, you had Genovese. It just depended what areas. So specific areas for specific groups. Staten Island, where I was from, is mostly Gambinos. Castellano lived there. He isolated himself over there. I believe Neil lived there. Della Croce. Um, Gravano lived there. He moved there from Bensonhurst. Yeah, upstate New York's nice. I like Roscoe up there. Did you ever go fishing in Roscoe? What's going on, New Good? Manhattan is the richest. If you go to Manhattan, there's like 400 square foot. You're paying like $2,400. So Manhattan's definitely the most money. Then after that, it depends because Queens and Brooklyn is expensive. Staten Island, you can't find a house. All the small houses are 700,000 and above. That's ridiculous. 5 years ago is 300,000. Ever since 2020, everything went to shit. 2021, it was over. Actually, after the rates went up from 2% and 3%, it jumped up to like 6%. It was over after that. When the Dodgers left Brooklyn, they probably the Yankees. But yeah, New York's expensive, man. Yeah, we have deer, rabbit. There's been a lot of foxes lately too. Yeah, they did gain the Brooklyn Nets though. Basketball. I don't know. If I move out of this fucking state, I don't know where I would want to go next. It wouldn't be Florida, Joey. Yeah, the foxes, they're nuts. Where in Florida, Joey? Is it near Disney? My friend's in Florida right now. He's working with NASA. They're building the space uh, rocket shit. I might go see him soon. Connecticut. I'm never really over there. I haven't seen Connecticut in a while. Oh, Sarasota. If I'm ever down there, I will definitely hit you up. How's the drinking water in Florida? I heard it was bad. It's not like New York, right, Joey? Is there good pizza spots and shit over there? Would I ever live in Boston? I don't know, because I don't like the cold. I don't know. Plus, isn't it expensive there too? I might as well just stay in New York. Boston and the mob, uh, it wasn't as big as the rest, but it was bigger than like L.A. South Dakota, I never seen. I heard it was nice. What's up, Fox? Did you come from the Discord? See, that's the shitty thing about Florida. You got to drink the water bottle. That's like some parts of South Jersey. You got to drink from the water bottles because the water's disgusting. I appreciate you, Fox. All right, so I've been to Vegas and I've been to LA. When I went to LA, it was 2014. It was nothing like it is now. It was still bad, but not like now. The weather was beautiful in LA. Like you could wear either a hoodie and pants, or you could wear shorts and a t-shirt. It was like always 70s. It never rained back in the day when I was there. Vegas was I went to Vegas once. I was there for like 5 days. Vegas was like an illusion. You're on the strip. All there is gambling and all that shit. I didn't like Vegas. It was like 110 degrees. Just unlivable. I like to be near an ocean, water. I need to be at rivers, like wherever there's water. That's why I would never move to like Vegas or Arizona. Deserts. I can't. I can never. I need beaches. I love the beach. Oh, you're in South Jersey? What part of South Jersey? Yeah, there's nothing like being near the water. I'm in Jersey and New York, back and forth. Is it cheap over there in South Dakota? Oh, you live in Kelly now? Oh, Mount Laurel. Yeah, that's like by 295 exit 34, 36 on 295. So I was in the deep south too. I was in Mississippi, which the best chicken I ever had, man, was in Mississippi. I would drive back just to eat the chicken over there. I liked it, but I didn't get to see too much of it because I was driving through. Because I went to Tennessee. That was nice, and Nashville. Nashville was really nice. Um, I went to where the fuck else? Oh, New Orleans. I went to New Orleans. I would not recommend going to New Orleans. As soon as I went there, I almost got robbed. Good thing I had people with me. They just come up to you. They try to rob you right away. Yeah, I know a lot about South Jersey Fox. Yeah, New York City is. You just got to worry about the ocean because there's a lot of times where the tide and there's floods and shit. Yeah, New Orleans. I couldn't breathe out there. It was so disgusting. There was rats running around in New Orleans, just in the streets. It was disgusting. I'll never go back there. I don't think I'd go back to Vegas either. I'd go back to Nashville. I liked Virginia. The beaches were nice in Virginia. Maryland was nice. Some parts. Yeah, Virginia is nice. The beach was nice. They got some decent laws out there that I like. I wouldn't go to Detroit. You'll never catch me in Detroit. I heard in Detroit they don't even have ambulances come save you. You gotta take a cab to the hospital. Forget about Chicago. I wouldn't go to Chicago either. They don't call it Chirac for nothing. Sicilian and Napolitan. Damn, Joey, you in 48 states? Nice. What kind of, from where? What part of, because, when people say black, it could be anything. It could be Jamaican, whatever. North side of Chicago is safer than the south side? Yes. But I still wouldn't go to Chicago. All right. I got you. That's a good mix. I want to go see Yellowstone. That's on my list. California was nice, Joey, but I don't know anymore. Maybe if you hit up San Diego or something, but I wouldn't go to LA. I heard San Francisco is nice, but I don't know about the people. If Yellowstone erupted, we would all be done. The world. It's just too massive. It would block the sun for who knows how long. I don't mind the cold, like if I'm going on vacation, but to live full time in the cold. But I would go over there. I would definitely go to Montana. Alaska or Hawaii. I would check out Hawaii for like a day or two. I don't You ever look on the map at Hawaii? I wouldn't want to be there too long. No, one day soon, hopefully, me and Barco will do something. We talk all the time. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, Joey, I gotta check it out, man. I heard it's beautiful, and plus, I watch a lot of like stuff on Yellowstone. Just the surrounding area is just it looks beautiful over there. The wildlife, I'm into that. Yeah, Barco's a good guy. Baltimore, yeah, I wouldn't go there either. It's worse than when they filmed The Wire. We're in a depression. They're just not saying it. But the way people are being right now, you could tell you're in a depression. Yeah, there's definitely nice parts of Philly. South Philly is nice. North Philly's bad. Yeah, South Philly's nice. Once you start going north, you're in trouble. That's like anywhere though. You go to some parts of New York, you're in trouble. Brooklyn, Queens, if you make a wrong turn, you're done. Even Staten Island, you go to some spots, you make a wrong turn on a block, you're done. Oh yeah, North Philly you were at? Yeah, I could imagine the waves in Hawaii. I would love to surf those waves. Eagles fans, yeah, I can't stand them, but the most dangerous city in America, shit. It's always changing. I remember when St. Louis was the murder capital. Um, it's got to be Chicago, somewhere in Chicago. It's got to be Chicago. There's just some parts of everywhere in America that's just too dangerous. I'll tell you guys a story. So one day I'm driving around in Newark in Jersey, and I see Frelinghuysen Avenue. I'm like, oh, Frelinghuysen Avenue. That's where The Sopranos, they mentioned Frelinghuysen Avenue. Now I'm like 21 at the time and not remembering why they were in Frelinghuysen Avenue. And all of a sudden, everyone just comes out of the woodworks. I'm in the heart of the hood. And I was like, good thing no one did anything, but I got out of there. I blew a red light. I was like, I'm out of here. I forgot Frelinghuysen Avenue is where they were building a whole shit with the Zellman. If you go to some parts of Chicago in the city in the daytime, you're good. Just get out of there by night. Yeah. Detroit, Memphis, yep, Chicago. You know, some parts of LA is you can't go down. Some parts of Philly, even New York, New Jersey has bad spots you can't go to. Like I want to go to Mexico and see that, but I don't feel like seeing no cartels and shit. Yeah, San Francisco. Yeah, they do that in Jersey too now. They lock everything up. All right, so in New York City that are safe at night, a lot. Staten Island, you could pretty much walk around almost almost anywhere. You're good because most of the cops live in Staten Island. Um, Manhattan, you could get away with walking around the city. Um, just don't go on the subways. You got to be street smart. You know, you got to be aware of your surroundings. Yeah, Florida, when I went last time, there's everyone was carrying out there. Yeah, Mexico, I don't know. I went to the Dominican Republic. They robbed me out there. I wouldn't, I can only imagine Mexico. They got me good. Joey, it's better to have it and not need it than get caught without one. Yeah, they have in Mexico. It's sick out there. I would not go there. They got to clean that up. I'd rather go to Cuba. Yep. It's rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Just make sure it don't jam on you, Joey. 38 special. Oh, yeah, the World Cup. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this whole world's just nuts. I know you do, Joey. I know. I could tell. If shit hits the fan, I'm coming to you, bro. Yeah, that sounds nice. I would do that. Yeah, when I come out there, I'll let you know. I was gonna come out this month, but I can't. I got shit to do, but hopefully within the next 3 to 4 months, I'll try to get out there. Let me know if you see any cheap property out there. Yeah, Madison Square Garden, there's nothing like it. I'll hang out for 5 more minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna head to bed. My phone's on 25%. What do you guys want to talk about for the next 5 to 10 minutes? The Islanders? Um, no, not Staten Island. I'm in both, Fox. I'm in New York City and then South Jersey. By exit 21 on 295. All right, Joey, take care, bro. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Get a good night's sleep. Oh yeah, Long Island. Yeah. Yeah, the Rangers got a lot of diehard fans. So there'll always be more Ranger fans than Islander fans. Yeah, let me know. Do you have Instagram, Fox? So in my profile, not on this channel, on my other channel, you'll see my Instagram up there. It's at CEERUPT. CEERUPT. And you'll find me. Long Island's kind of like Staten Island. It's a long island, and it's a lot of traffic, but it's suburbs. Um, it's all right. The beaches are nice, but I don't really like Long Island. If you're gonna be in New York City, you might, you go see Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and just go look for the best food, and then the nice tourist spots. Check out the buildings and shit. Like recently, I was at the One World Trade, the Freedom Tower. I was at the top of that. That was fun. Hudson Gardens. That was fun. There's a lot of good spots in the city. A lot of nice spots. There's nothing like New York pizza, man. I go to this one spot in South Jersey. The guy's from straight from Italy, so he makes the best Sicilian slices. So I just go to one spot in South Jersey. Yeah, I've been to Seaside. The only spots I've never been to in Jersey is North Jersey, like wherever the Sopranos were. I wasn't over there. I always go the other way, south. Yeah, that's enough. I gotta go on the Empire State Building. I didn't do that one yet. Shockingly, I definitely want to do that. The Freedom Tower. I was on the. I believe it was the 102nd floor or the 101st floor. Looking down at that was just scary. Actually, I posted a video. Yeah, I posted a short on this channel. You'll see me walking on it. It was scary. I'll try and post more videos of New York City on this channel, just so you guys could see. There's nothing like Manhattan. I love architecture, so Jersey's got the mix of there's nice stuff in Jersey. It's not all shit. Philly's nice. South Philly, I like. Chrysler Building, yeah. All right, brother. Hit me up on Instagram, Fox. Damn, bro. I told you this channel. So, yeah, 9/11. I was 14 years old. And it was second period in my high school. And just two people came in. So, to the right of me, there was a military base. And I heard helicopters. The military helicopters. We didn't know what was going on. And then a plane hit the tower. So my mom came and got me from school. I go home, I'm watching the TV, and then I just see them falling. And I'm like, I was scared shit. I thought it was over. I thought they were gonna drop some shit on us. I didn't know what the hell was happening. When you're 14, you don't know what's going on. But then you got this new generation, these younger kids, they're making jokes and shit about it, but I don't know. They just a bunch of stupid people running around right now. They're not street smart. The world changed after that day. They made stupid laws. Nope, it's never been the same after that day. Once they put that Patriot Act in, it was over. And then they made more laws, but we'll talk about that another time. It just keeps ruining it. Yeah, they offend me because I know people personally that died in the towers. So when I see the jokes, I'm like, these people have no idea. I lost a lot, like at least 8 people I know. People were calling me like crazy that day because someone died with the same exact name as me, first and last name. They thought it was me in there. One of my neighbors, she was 21 years old. She died. She was on one of the top floors. Yeah, my friend's father, he was a firefighter. He got lucky. His son had a baseball game, so he went to go see it, and he just missed it, or else he would have been gone. just sad shit. I hate war, but that wasn't war. I know what that was. That was not war. That was, I don't even want to talk about it. You guys know. If you're old enough, you know what happened. Unfortunately, we get censored on this shit where you can't really say much, but we know. Yeah, it was definitely that. We know who did it, though. I can't say who, but we know. They're cowards. That's what they are. Cowards. That's why I say, they made the RICO law. If people were smart, they turn the RICO law on them and see how many of them get got and they go to jail. I don't even know what you're talking about, brother. All right, guys, I gotta run. My phone's about to die. Uh, oh no, I don't know nothing about that comedy fest. Yeah, it's sickening. We'll talk more about that though. I want to do something on this politics shit soon because it's getting out of control. We'll figure something out with that. I'll keep in touch with you guys. I'll make a community post tomorrow, and if you want to hit me up on Instagram, go ahead. Anytime, brother. You stay safe too. Take care, guys. I appreciate you all. Stay safe.